You want value with more contrast. The darkest value and the lightest value together create more contrast. And more contrast pops things forward. This is called atmospheric perspective. And you can use atmospheric perspective even on an eyeball, even on a distance that's not even an inch in depth, right? The depth can be that narrow, but you can still use atmospheric perspective to create depth. So this iris we want dark, and these white areas we want lighter. And then as we move, so if this is closest to us and we want more dominance in that area too, because we want to focus right in there, we're going to create a lot of darkness here. And then as we move back in space around this eye, moving from the forward to the back, we go with more contrast, and then as we move back, less contrast. So all the values in these farther areas in the back, those values will be closer in range, but these values up here need to be black and white. So usually move to an unsharpened pencil for these areas and put them in nice and dark. And this right here, I'm not even concerned, because I know I want that one really, really black. All right. There's a little bit of a a line that's created because there's an edge there inside that iris. I mean, inside that pupil. And Michelangelo created that edge there. Trying to use the same pressure all the way around. And then right in here, there's going to be a change. Right. Now there's a cast shadow from that upper lid onto the actual eyeball. And just draw that in nice and softly, and it changes shape from something narrow here to something wider as it comes across here. And another thing is, if you look at it, this is darker in there, but then as it comes around here, it gets lighter. Or it gets closer to the same value as it moves in there, because this all becomes a similar value. And this is our upper lid. The underneath part of the upper lid comes down and actually shuts off right about there. All right, this under part of the upper lid, it has bounce light in it. So this part here should not get too much value, but it needs enough value that it reads as shadow shape. But this in here has much more value in it. And this right here, I'm going to add a little bit more, because right in here, there's a lighter value right there. Now this can get a little thicker. Seems to be like the third eyelid right there. When we were, if you're really thinking about evolution, which I don't believe in, but some people do, the third eyelid is like reptilian, but I don't really believe in that. But that's what some people say. All right, so my values are creating my lines, not my lines. My lines are just the first ones I put in were very light, and they easily help you figure out where to place things. They are the lines that I put at first are the edges of, or the edge of a plane meets. So the line is where my two hands meet. This is a plane, this is a plane. The planes change, that's where the line is created. So I place that line, but that's also where the value changes. And if the plane changes quickly, then there's a sharp line. If the planes change slowly, then you need to use a very light gradient change. And always looking for bounce light. Which values are we talking about? Which parts of the... All right, so yeah, let's just do one right here. This is a sphere, right? If the light is the same from the eye, it's coming from this direction. Right. Here we have a highlight, and here we have the light shape, and here we have the penumbra, which is would be just a slight transition where the light is coming in. And then it gets darker. This is your core value. It's probably the darkest on the form shadow in this area. So this core value, a core shadow, or a shadow shape, form shadow, I guess that's the best word for it. The form shadow, say right in this area, and then we go to bounce light, back in here. So this is our bounce light, and this is our form shadow, and this is our light area, and then there's highlights as well. So here's our bounce light, and that's lighter, but it's always in the shadow, so it gets a value that's darker than this. And then underneath this ball, there's going to be what's called a cast shadow. And it usually takes on somewhat the shape of the actual object, but it's a little bit distorted because it's on a flat surface. And we're also looking at it in perspective. If you were looking at this cast shadow from the top, it would look more round. But since we're looking at it from the side, it's not quite as round. Now don't go all the way up into your bounce light, but stay beyond it because this is overlapping. And then right under your sphere, that's going to be your darkest area. And then it transitions out from there. And that's why we do our value scales and line scales, so we can easily make this change. Right in here, you can get this form shadow a little bit darker, but the penumbra should transition nicely into that white area of the light area, and also there's your highlight. Nice way to make this look even more round is to put a value. Now I put a nice dark line when I started this thing with pen, but if you use the light line and then you just put a background value on it, then that thing would pop even better. It would pop forward even better. Right. Well, let's go back up into our eye. Reading these things a little bit better. This right here is got a lot of this is bounce light up in here, so I'm going to make this even darker. Changing how I hold my pencil to get a different line. You don't want all your lines to be the same direction. All right, here this is the inside of the upper eye. Where the two planes meet. And right in here, this is where the cast shadow from this skin fold and bone fall over on this David figure.